Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Beat in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then taste it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No takes if they like to see. Free, just like the wind.
It is a great day to be alive here in the state of New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting set for yet another big time edition of the greatest show on earth. And as you can see, I'm ready to rock and roll, and that could only mean that it's Saturday, and you know what the fuck that means. We are indeed live, and ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the greatest motherfucking show on earth, as we are streaming live across 4 different platforms, across 4 different accounts, and we're getting set to talk about the most unique sport that the world has to offer, and that is professional wrestling. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the Best Damn X, formerly known as Twitter handle known to mankind. And just like Hulkamania was running wild, just like Trumpamania is running wild right here, Trump 2024 motherfuckers, you don't like it, make like your mother and suck my dick. DJ Mania is running wild 24/7, 365. What are you gonna do when the forces of DJ Mania run wild on you, brother? We got plenty of good material to talk about here on the Lightning Flash Update. I got some reports on Ring of Honor and the fact that they will be reportedly receiving more care from Tony Khan following the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view next Friday night. Also, Brian Alvarez reports a very interesting tidbit of information regarding professional wrestlers that come into WWE. Apparently, they're going to be able to keep their names when they come into WWE, and if they decide to leave WWE, they're going to be allowed to keep their names. So we could end up seeing Ricochet make an appearance on AEW TV as Ricochet. That is a great thing to hear. Rhea Ripley apparently is still not cleared for physicality, but WWE is hopeful that she will be cleared going into SummerSlam. Janel Grant provides another layer of information in regards to the Vince McMahon lawsuit that she has been putting forth. And then, of course, we got ourselves a huge, and I mean a huge rumor going around that AEW could very well be taking a major pay-per-view. We don't know what specifically, but they will be taking a major pay-per-view to Texas. Tony Khan did deny it. However, that doesn't really mean too much in professional wrestling nowadays, because as we've seen over the course of the last half a decade, anything is possible in the world of professional wrestling. We're going to talk about all those reports, and we're going to talk about the build to SummerSlam, the build to Blood and Guts, the build towards All In. AEW Dynamite has seemingly gotten itself on the right track. Tony Khan's hitting all the right buttons with Dynamite, and I hope he transfers that to Collision and Rampage going forward. On WWE's side of the fence, the shows have been fairly okay, but there seems to be a problem with the WWE right now, as the build to SummerSlam does not feel as hyped and it doesn't feel as energetic as the build towards Money in the Bank. Why is that? We're going to talk about that. We're going to decipher what the problem is with WWE, and I'll give you a hint. Part of it is exactly what I have been saying for God knows how long now when it comes to how they book their talent, who they put effort into, and who they don't put effort into. But before we get into the specifics here, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you follow me on all platforms of social media at HistoryMakerDJS. One more time, that is at HistoryMakerDJS, both on X and Instagram. You can also add me on Facebook. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. Of course, my email is StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all those links are in the description. In addition to that, please make sure that you hit the like button no matter where you're watching it from, whether you're watching it on X, Facebook, YouTube, or Rumble. We're building a nice solid fan base over on Rumble. Rumble is slowly becoming a very, very, very nice place for free speech. So if you're a free speech advocate, go check out Rumble. I do believe you'll like it. And there are not many professional wrestling analysts that are looking to take over Rumble. I've been doing consistent work over on Rumble since November, and I'm going to continue to put forth that consistent work going forward. On top of that, please make sure, if you haven't already done so, share the stream out on all platforms, social media, whether it be X, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok. We already got 15 people in here. We want to get more than 15 people in here. We want to get 20 people in here. We want to get 25, 30, 35, 40. We're going to want to keep getting as many people in here as possible because I make people's lives better. It is a known fact. Everyone needs a dose of DJ Shizzle Dizzle, and their lives automatically become better. I didn't make the rules. Yes, I did. In addition to that, please make sure if you're watching on YouTube, you got to hit the subscribe button. Very, very important to hit the subscribe button. We are on the road towards 2,570 subscribers. We're looking to reach 2,600 subscribers and hopefully move up to 2,700, 2,800, 2,900, and of course, 3,000. It is incredibly vital that you subscribe and be sure to hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace because that way you are going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, you already know, baby, it's the best time to be on YouTube because Trumpomania is running wild, DJ Mania is running wild, and everyone wants to get a piece of me because I just inject a certain level of energy. I inject flavor into your lives. And of course, you want to be on YouTube when I'm on YouTube because you can see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Get your DJ Storms wristbands, get your DJ Storms t-shirts, and of course, get the greatest piece of merch that you will ever fucking own, the DJ Storms official switchblade comb. And just like me, you can be so good, just like pot stickers and macaroni salad. You could be scrumptious. You could be tasty. You could be the most delicious snack in the IWC. And just like everyone wants a piece of the Storms Meister, everyone's going to want a piece of you. And you can yeet to that. And I know Matthew has a DJ Storms t-shirt. He's got a great DJ Storms t-shirt. He knows what's up. That's for sure. Sean knows what's up. On the Sidelines podcast knows what's up. We fighting all day, every single fucking day, because that's what we do. Anyway, we have a lot to get into. And we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get straight into the festivities here on the Lightning Flash update. Why don't we start with Ring of Honor? According to Fightful, Ring of Honor is likely to receive more creative attention following the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view, as the upcoming tapings in Arlington are being viewed as a potential turning point for the brand, with plans for dedicated taping sessions. The change is expected to lead to more consistent creative output, as multiple shows will be recorded in a single day, rather than filming weekly before or after a Dynamite or a Collision. This is a great thing. This is a great thing, and this is exactly what they have needed to do. Tony Khan, I've said it once, I'll say it again. The guy has a great vision, but the problem is that he cannot do everything on his own. And I'd like to hope that with Ring of Honor receiving more attention, this means that Tony Khan is going to put someone down there and he is going to organize a creative mastermind to handle Ring of Honor while he handles AEW's side of the creative output. And then they can both meet to make sure everything aligns. In addition to that, they need to split the rosters. You don't need to have a brand split between Dynamite and Collision. You don't. But you absolutely need to have a brand split between AEW and Ring of Honor. You can't cross-correlate. You want to have maybe one or two individuals on AEW TV consistently? Go ahead. Go ahead. That's fine. But you cannot do that with every other individual that steps through the doors. You can't. Because then there's no identity. Ring of Honor recently, we've been getting some decent episodes. We haven't been getting these 2-hour, 3-hour episodes where there's 19 fucking matches on the show. We've been getting 1-hour shows where there's maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 matches at most. That is much more tolerable and much more digestible. But what we need now we have the timestamp right. We need to get the match quality better. We need to get consistent TV from week to week. And in addition to that, we need to stop taping them before or after a Dynamite or Collision. Ring of Honor should be down in Universal Studios. I remember when Ring of Honor first came back. When Ring of Honor first came back and they moved Ring of Honor down to Universal Studios, that first month of Ring of Honor TV, leading up to Death Before Dishonor 2023 was fucking great. There was a lot of good material in the Ring of Honor when they were taping in Universal Studios. We need to move it back to Universal Studios. We need to build some consistent stories. They were building Eddie Kingston and Claudio. They were building up Samoa Joe and Mark Briscoe. They were building some undercard feuds between Athena and Willow Nightingale. They were building some undercard feuds between the Kingdom and Top Flight. I remember that was very, very solid. We need more of that. We need those undercard storylines mixed in with the main event stories for the championships. We need that shit on a consistent basis. Plan out who you're going to use for each 1-hour show and then put that shit into action. So reportedly, Ring of Honor is going to receive more attention going forward, and it's going to receive a lot more creative output. I really do hope that is the case. And if they do things right, Ring of Honor will be a nice, solid addition to the wrestling week. They need to split the roster. You don't have to split Dynamite and Collision into 2 separate rosters, but you absolutely need to split the AEW roster from the Ring of Honor roster. We need the 1-hour episodes, 3 to 4 quality matches, and then we need consistent TV week to week. Develop your main event championship storylines, main event championship title pictures. Develop undercard stories and reenact the ranking system. I said it once, I'll say it again. AEW, Ring of Honor, WWE, they all need a ranking system. And if they do that, they move it down to Universal Studios and they don't tape it after Dynamite or Collision, Ring of Honor will indeed be a nice addition to everyone's weekly wrestling programming schedule. Brian Alvarez. He talked about a new institutional rule, or I wouldn't really say rule, I would say a privilege, if you will. Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live, he talked about a new clause, a new privilege with the new WWE/TKO deals, in which these new deals will allow professional wrestlers to use the ring names prior to or after their WWE runs are over. So similar to a Ricochet, if he was Ricochet before WWE, if he's Ricochet in WWE, he'll be Ricochet after WWE. Ethan Page, if he wants to leave WWE after this run is over, he can remain Ethan Page. So that right there is a very, very, very nice strategy. And it really goes to show everyone that there is at least some changes. I know I shit on Triple H, and I have said that there's really no change in terms of a backstage cultural perspective in the WWE, but I do have to give WWE credit here. I'm not sure who made this decision. I don't know if it was Ari Emanuel. I don't know if it was Triple H. I don't know if it was Stephanie McMahon. I don't know if it was Bruce Pritchard. I don't know who made this move, but I will say that this right here is a great step in the right direction, because everybody knows that it's complete fucking bullshit that WWE needs to copyright everything and WWE needs to trademark every single fucking individual's name that walks through the doors of WWE HQ. It's all bullshit. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. But now they're doing away with that. And that's a great thing. They're doing away with that. That is a great thing. I hope that that is enacted, fulfilled, and continued going forward, because everyone who has earned the right to their name and has built a legacy, whether it be on the independents, whether it be with New Japan, whether it be with TNA, whether it be with AEW or WWE, they deserve to keep the names that they have built their careers and their legacies on. WWE does not need to own everything. Rhea Ripley, of course, made her return to the WWE 1 week and 5 days ago. 1 week, 5 days ago, 12 days ago, Rhea Ripley made her return on Monday Night Raw, and she looks good. She looks great, actually. She is set to face Liv Morgan at SummerSlam with the Women's World Championship on the line. However, I got an interesting piece of information. Rhea Ripley apparently has not been cleared by sources. There has been a couple of individuals, PW Insider and Fightful, that have talked about this. However, despite not being cleared for physicality, sources within WWE do indeed expect her to complete the process in time for SummerSlam. I would like to believe so. I mean, you're not going to bring Rhea Ripley back if she is not ready to come back. Dave Meltzer said that Rhea Ripley is not going to be cleared until after SummerSlam. Well, if we have the match confirmed for SummerSlam, I'm glad Dave Meltzer ended up being wrong, because we needed Rhea Ripley back on TV. We needed her back on TV. We could not continue to go forth with the same shit every single week with Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio, where Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio every single fucking week were caught in some sort of smitten position. We can't do that. After a while, it's going to get old. I mean, the bloodline shit is starting to get old, and we're going to talk about that as well later on the stream. But we needed Rhea Ripley back. We got Rhea Ripley back. Now we can move on to the next chapter of this angle. We can move on to the next chapter of this storyline. I fully believe Rhea Ripley will be back in time for SummerSlam. You're not going to bring her back to TV if she is not either ready to come back or if she's not virtually on the brink of being cleared. And on top of that, we got about 2 more weeks. Rhea Ripley, she doesn't need to fight. She doesn't need to get into a scuffle. She doesn't need to do anything. She just needs to be there. She needs to be there. She needs to be with Dom. She needs to be with Rhea. And she needs to do what she needs to do in order to advance the feud. So we don't need Rhea Ripley getting physical until SummerSlam. I fully trust the process. And everyone should trust the process. If Rhea Ripley's back on TV, she will be competing at SummerSlam no matter what. Tyler Bate, and man, this fucking sucks. I swear to God, the injury bug does not lighten up. Tyler Bate is the latest victim of the injury bug, according to Fightful. The injury has not been specified. However, this injury that Tyler Bate currently has is going to keep him out until 2025. Son of a bitch. Double dog fuck. I hate the injury bug. I really do. I really fucking do. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. I swear to God, one person comes back, the next person gets injured. I have not seen a period of time where injuries have been this fucking bad. Never seen any period of time where the injuries have been this fucking bad. It's downright depressing. I'm not even gonna lie. It's downright depressing. And apparently, it was a last-minute decision to have Pete Dunne turn on Sheamus. So they're apparently going into a program on Monday Night Raw, which we will talk about a little bit. How you doing, Mick Blackwell Jr.? Greatly appreciate you stopping on by. Ilya Dragunov. He has been mixing it up with Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn as of lately on Monday Night Raw, if you've been keeping track with Monday Night Raw. Some people have speculated that Ilya Dragunov will be added to the Braun Breaker Sami Zayn Intercontinental Championship fight at SummerSlam. Apparently, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that at this moment, WWE does not plan on adding Ilya Dragunov to the Braun Breaker Sami Zayn match at SummerSlam. To be quite honest with you, that's actually disappointing. It's actually very disappointing if you ask me. That's extremely disappointing because Ilya Dragunov, he is great at what he does. And if anything, Ilya Dragunov deserves just as much of a showcase as they're giving to Braun Breaker. Ilya Dragunov is fantastic at what he does. Braun Breaker didn't win the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. He didn't need to. Braun Breaker losing at SummerSlam, or excuse me, not SummerSlam, Money in the Bank. Braun Breaker losing at Money in the Bank was always the right move. You're not going to take the title off Sami when Sami right now is doing very good work with it. So now we got ourselves Sami and Ilya, and Sami and Ilya, they had a match on Monday Night Raw, resulting in Braun Breaker causing a DQ. Logically speaking, that is the prototypical Wrestling 101 angle for a triple threat match. So I don't understand why you wouldn't add Ilya Dragunov in there. If anything, that makes the match at SummerSlam better. If anything, you want to let them go, they're going to put on a fucking match of the year candidate. They're going to put on a fucking match of the year candidate if you let those guys go. And on top of that, that also puts forth a scenario where you can protect Braun Breaker and have him lose again. So instead of SummerSlam, you want to crown Braun Breaker at Bash in Berlin in an international crowd, and you want to make the international shows feel a little bit more important. And you could do Braun and Sami one more time at Bash in Berlin, and that's when Braun finally wins the championship. Maybe that will work out overall better than crowning him at SummerSlam. Obviously, crowning him at SummerSlam would be one of the most ideal things because SummerSlam is a pretty big fucking deal. But at the same point in time, it would be in WWE's best interest to add Ilya Dragunov because that is going to make the match better. That's going to make the Intercontinental Championship feel more important. And above all else, it's going to make SummerSlam better. And at this very moment, WWE needs something. They need something to inject some excitement into the build for SummerSlam because it's not really hitting like it should. The build for Money in the Bank was only 3 weeks, but the build for Money in the Bank is putting the build to SummerSlam to shame. Janel Grant. She actually came out with a report regarding a doctor prescribing certain employees medication, and when she questioned said doctor, he was a bit nasty. This is obviously in the ongoing case of the Janel Grant Vince McMahon sexual assault lawsuit. Obviously, I don't need to go into all the specifics. If you've read the court files that came out, you would know what this is all about. But now this just adds another layer to it. I'm not sure what Janel Grant is claiming that the doctors were giving her, but maybe it could be some form of birth control That's just me speculating, of course. Maybe it could be some form of a birth control that the doctors were prescribing to Janel Grant when Janel Grant did not want to take any birth control because Janel Grant was in a relationship with Vince McMahon, which resulted in a lot of explicit activities, if you will. So Janel Grant's attorney wrote this, and I quote, "On multiple visits, Dr. Kolker prescribed Miss Grant with adrenal trays or adrenal supplement trays provided by his office and instructed her to take the unmandated pills daily. Dr. Kolker did not explain the substances, dosages, or purpose of the pills to Miss Grant beyond addressing her symptoms of fatigue when Miss Grant asked Dr. Kolker about the substance of the supplement trays and specifically which substance caused her to experience nausea. He responded with pushback about trust, including, and I quote, 'If you don't trust me, we have bigger problems,' end quote. Now, I don't know what this means. It seems a little bit broad, but considering that Vince McMahon was in a rather lewd relationship with Janel Grant, it would be in our most intelligent of assumptions, because all we can do here is assume. We don't know the specifics. We don't know what exactly Dr. Kolker was giving to Janel Grant, and we may never know what he's giving to Janel Grant. We don't know if they're actually going to reveal that in the court case, or maybe they will reveal that in the court case. Who the fuck knows? It's not really getting enough coverage, which kind of surprises me. But it is in our most intelligent of assumptions that it's probably unnecessary birth control or some form of a birth control. I don't know what that may be. I don't know if it's birth control. I don't know if it's some sort of sedative drug. We don't know. All we can do is assume, but this doesn't look good. Janel Grant and her attorney is now saying that Dr. Kolker, a medical physician over in WWE, was giving her unmandated pills. He refused to explain the substances or the dosages or the purpose, and he refused to explain which one specifically caused her to experience nausea. This is not looking good. This is not looking good at all. Now, we do not know what specifically those drugs were. It could have been a birth control. It could have been some sort of sedative. But the fact that the doctor said, and I quote, "If you don't trust me, we have bigger problems," that's not necessarily going to paint not just Vince McMahon, but that's not going to paint the WWE in a good light. Even though the WWE right now doesn't have Vince McMahon's name attached to it anymore, this still took place on their watch. And WWE is not going to have a good public name after this. Very, 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 very sus. So I think that if WWE, if they really want to, make sure they get back in the good graces of the fans, they better do something with the culture backstage. They better do something with the culture backstage, because it's going to be very, very hard for them to shake this negative stigma. And I don't know when this court case is really going to take place. I don't know if it's going on now. It's not being covered, which I'm surprised. Maybe it hasn't even started yet. But it seems as though something new is coming out one day after another. Now we got doctors prescribing unmandated pills. We got doctors prescribing pills without giving the patient a full rundown on what these pills are supposed to be used for. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. Joe Hendry. Do you believe in Joe Hendry? I certainly believe in Joe Hendry. I do. Joe Hendry's fucking awesome. According to Wrestling Observer Radio, there is, and I quote, a lot of push within TNA to put the world title on Joe Hendry. And I've actually been one of those individuals. I do not work for TNA. I'm not trying to work for TNA, but I have indeed been pushing for Joe Hendry to win the World Championship. Now, here's the question. Joe Hendry has been appearing on NXT as of lately, and he's going to be appearing on NXT going forward. But the main question that I have is, what exactly are they planning for Joe Hendry? Are we going to have WWE allow pretty much TNA, because this is TNA's decision, if Joe Hendry wins the World Championship, are we going to have Joe Hendry migrate over to NXT? And could we see, I don't know if this is a plan. I'm not sure if they have this on their minds right now, but could we potentially be looking down the barrel of a champion versus champion match at an NXT Premium Live event? Because here's the thing, Ethan Page, he's the NXT champion. You put the championship on Ethan Page for a reason. What exactly is the reason outside of the fact that you needed to make up for the shit booking decision that you made at NXT Battleground? Joe Hendry wins the World Championship, right? If Joe Hendry ends up winning the World Championship between now and September, with NXT No Mercy on the horizon, could we potentially be looking down the barrel of a champion versus champion match? Are we going to see Joe Hendry, TNA World Heavyweight Champion, versus Ethan Page, NXT Champion, title for title at NXT No Mercy in the main event? Could we be looking at Joe Hendry potentially take over the wrestling world and be a double champion, one championship with a company that he's signed with, another championship in a company that he's not signed with? I don't know about you, but that would be very, very historic. I don't think WWE has ever done that before. WrestleVotes. I got a report from WrestleVotes regarding the CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins scenario. They tweeted out an update earlier this week. And last week on the LFU, I talked about WWE potentially, this is not confirmed, this is just a potential scenario, potentially WWE doing a triple threat match between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre. And the reason why they would go that route is because maybe they don't trust CM Punk just yet. Maybe CM Punk is not 100% cleared. Maybe they are not confident that CM Punk's body will be able to hold up and they'll be able to pretty much rely on him to carry half the load in that match. And it's much easier. It's much easier to work a triple threat match than it is to work a singles match, because you have your decreased chances of carrying the load. Instead of carrying 50% of the load, you have to carry 33 1/3% chance of the load. Unless, of course, you're Scott Steiner. And then in this case, you'll have to carry 66 2/3% chance of the load. And if you're Samoa Joe, you take his 33 1/3% minus 25%. He only has an 8 1/3 chance of winning. And then you take Scott Steiner's 75% and you add the 66 2/3% chance of winning. And then he ends up having 141 2/3% chance of winning. So the numbers don't lie. That's Steiner math for you out there. Surprisingly, it's very easy to understand. It's very, very easy to understand Steiner math. Gotta love it. Anyway, I got sidetracked with my Steiner math debacle there. So I thought that they were going down the barrel of a triple threat match because they did not have the confidence in CM Punk because, again, not to be an asshole right here, but Fragile Phil isn't just a nickname given to CM Punk by the AEW elitists. Fragile Phil is legitimately what he is. His body has proven to be rather weak. He's proven to be physically unreliable in recent years. I don't know what to tell you. That's just the truth of the matter. However, a triple threat match is not in the works. Apparently, WrestleVotes is stating that sources, and I quote, sources states the current plans have Seth Rollins as the special guest referee for CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. Creative is proceeding under the assumption that Punk will be ready for action with the anticipated clearance date set for the Monday beforehand, 7/29, end quote. And yes, final hoss. Viewers of this channel have a 144 2/3% chance of gaining more intelligence. You are absolutely correct. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. But we got ourselves a completely different scenario. Instead of a triple threat match, it's going to be a special guest referee match with Rollins being the special guest referee. I don't have an issue with this. I don't have an issue with this whatsoever. Matter of fact, this is a brilliant call. This is a brilliant call because now Seth Rollins, he can be involved without physically being in the match, and that is a great way to build more tension between both McIntyre, Punk, and then either of them and Seth Rollins. It's a great move because as of right now, up until this past Monday, CM Punk and Rollins, they were the ones that had the beef coming out of Money in the Bank. Punk and McIntyre, they had the biggest beef of it all, but McIntyre and Rollins, they already fixed up their little debacle at WrestleMania. They didn't really have any beef up until this past Monday. Now, obviously, we need to hear Seth Rollins' explanation as to why he decided to get involved, because Drew McIntyre, he did what every Money in the Bank winner had done in the past. So Rollins wasn't necessarily, quote-unquote, mad at Drew McIntyre, but I guess Rollins is going to be the stand-up guy, and Rollins is going to say, listen, I've been frustrated numerous amounts of times, but I have never gone out of my way to try and attack officials or attack GMs. That's unprofessionalism. I get frustrated every now and then, and I don't like CM Punk, but I'm not going to be an unprofessional prick about it. That's all that Rollins has to say, really. The scenario as to why he got involved is pretty simple. He's just trying to be the stand-up babyface. He's trying to be the stand-up babyface. But the question is, how exactly is this going to play out? We don't know, but I got to give WWE credit in this regard. Rollins being involved in this makes things a little bit more unpredictable and interesting. With Rollins potentially being involved in a special guest referee position for the Drew McIntyre CM Punk match at SummerSlam, this presents a much more unpredictable scenario where either man could end up winning. Realistically speaking, everyone had it in their mind that Drew McIntyre was already slated to win because CM Punk has been fucking Drew McIntyre over time and time again. He's fucked him out of the World Championship 5 times. So realistically, Drew McIntyre needs to win. But with Rollins involved, we could potentially see a scenario where Rollins goes to hit Punk with a steel chair, or he goes to hit Punk with a super kick or something, and he mistakenly hits Drew McIntyre, and maybe CM Punk gets the win there, protects Drew McIntyre, and then maybe we move forth towards a triple threat match at Bash in Berlin or maybe Bad Blood. Lots of good scenarios. Motor City Machine Guns. Motor City Machine Guns. A lot of people have been talking about the Motor City Machine Guns as of lately. Where are they going? Where are they going? What are they going to do? Well, apparently, according to Wrestling Observer Radio, the Motor City Machine Guns are expected to sign with the WWE. It is currently unclear where they're going to go, whether they're going to go to NXT, whether they're going to go to Raw, whether they're going to go to SmackDown. It is currently unknown. However, it all depends on if WWE is currently trying to rebuild the tag team division. We have seen some glimpses of WWE wanting to take the tag team division back to prominence. And I appreciate that. I really do. Because we need the tag team division back to what it once was, or at least under Triple H in NXT. However, I did say that the Motor City Machine Guns going to WWE would be a better scenario. It would be a better scenario because right now, WWE needs more help with their tag team division than AEW. Now, both divisions need help, but AEW, they got the talent. AEW has the talent. They got the Don Callis family. They got the Lucha Brothers. They got Private Party. They got the Acclaimed. They got the Young Bucks. They got FTR. They got the Blackpool Combat Club. They got the Guns. They got the Patriarchy. They got plenty of tag teams. The Undisputed Kingdom. We could potentially see Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly join the tag team division. They got the House of Black. They got a tag team division. They have a tag team division. They just need proper booking. WWE really doesn't have enough big-time tag teams. They don't have enough tag teams with a lot of name value to help boost their credibility. The NXT tag team division, by default, is probably the best tag team division in all of WWE right now. And I've said, and I quote, that Axiom and Nathan Fraser, they are the best tag team champions in the entire industry right now. And I am not shy of saying that. I'm not. But I guess it all depends. But I do believe that they are better. A lot of people would believe, and based on the evidence that I laid out for you guys, WWE is the better place for them. Although, I'm sure a lot of people would love to see him in AEW. I personally would love to see the Young Bucks versus the Motor City Machine Guns. That's for sure. I would have loved to have seen that match at Wembley. Doesn't look like we're going to get that. Speaking of AEW, before we get into our weekly show reviews, why don't we talk about the rumor that is swirling right now about AEW planning to run a major event in the Dallas, Texas area next year. This is according to Fightful, and AT&T Stadium is being rumored as the venue of choice. Now, Tony Khan, he did come out on Sports Illustrated, and he did state that he does not have any plans to run a major event in the Dallas Metroplex area. However, I don't think that means anything. If anything, we have seen that just because there's reports that come out that say this guy's not going to do this or these guys aren't going to this company, this is not going to happen, that is going to happen. We have seen in recent years that we can't necessarily take everything at face value because professional wrestling is a business at least built somewhat on surprises. Professional wrestling is a business that is built on unpredictability and surprises. That's what happened with CM Punk. CM Punk's WWE return didn't come together until a week before the actual event. It was last minute. Britt Baker, her big return at Forbidden Door. She came out, she stated that didn't come together until last minute. So who's to say that we are not going to get a big-time event in the Dallas Metroplex area? If anything, that is a great move. That is a brilliant move, and it's a necessary move. It's a necessary move because this helps AEW develop more of a nationwide impact. One of AEW's biggest issues is their marketing. I said it once, I'll say it again. Now, granted, the ticket sales have been a little better in certain areas. That much I will say. There have been ticket sales that have been better in certain areas. certain Canada areas and Nashville, that they've been selling more. They sold more than 3,000 over in Nashville. They sold over 5,000 in the Wintrust Arena in Chicago. So that's something right there. They have been selling a little bit better in certain areas in and around the country. But they need more of a nationwide impact. They already took over Wembley last year, and that was a fantastic show. No one's going to deny that. And they're probably going to do the same thing again this year. They're going to have a fantastic show. If anything, Wembley this year looks better than Wembley last year. However, how much longer are you going to run Wembley before you've run the well dry? You can't continuously push forth so much, and I mean you can't continuously push forth a continuous partnership with a big-time stadium year in and year out. It's going to run the course. I mean, look at what happened in Las Vegas. Las Vegas, there was only 7,500 people in attendance for Double or Nothing. It's not all that good. The arena seats like 11,000. You missed the opportunity to sell another 4,000 tickets. Not just because of your terrible marketing, but because you've been going back to the same exact venue for God knows how long. I understand partnerships are a great thing, but you don't need to constantly go back to Las Vegas for events like this every single fucking time. If anything, you should move Double or Nothing to Atlantic City. Move Double or Nothing to Atlantic City. That would work out a lot better. But as far as the Dallas, Texas Metroplex area goes, the rumor is that Fightful is saying that AEW wants to do a major show in Dallas with AT&T Stadium being the place for the show. I genuinely hope that they move All In from London to Dallas. And that's going to be the start of a nationwide stadium show tour. And then you can mix things up a little bit. You can go to Dallas, then maybe you could go to Florida, maybe you can go to California, whatever it may be. It would be a hell of a lot better than constantly doing Wembley Stadium. I'm just saying, we definitely need to start experimenting with All In outside of the London area. That is all the news, rumors, and reports that I got for you. That is all the news, rumors, and reports that I got for you. I am not going to rule out Tony Khan doing a stadium show in the United States, even though he says so. I am not going to rule it out because, like I said, anything is possible with professional wrestling. I hope you guys are having a fun time. Right now. We are almost 1 hour into the stream, and we got 4 weekly shows to go over. We're going to dissect things in depth, and we are going to talk about Raw. We're going to talk about SmackDown. We're going to talk about Rampage, and we are going to talk about Dynamite. Plenty of good things to discuss, that is for sure. But before we get into the specifics, I'd like to thank each and every single one of you for stopping on by. You guys are great, and you guys definitely make me and DJ Storms all worthwhile. Obviously, you already know the drill. DJ Mania is running wild. Trumpamania is running wild, motherfuckers. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. And as the stream is going on, please make sure that you get your super chats in here, you get your super stickers in here, make sure you get your super thanks in there, and become a member of the channel. Become a member of the channel, and you will receive custom perks, custom emojis. It is a great deal. You do not want to pass up on it. Anyway, let's talk about Raw. Raw. Not bad. Not a bad show. Not a bad show at all. However, I'm going to have to discuss this just a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Hopefully, I'll only spend maybe 5 or 6 minutes on this. But Raw and SmackDown this week were not necessarily horrible shows. They weren't necessarily bad shows, but the vibe of these shows are a lot different than the vibe of the shows that we were getting heading into Money in the Bank. And I really want you guys to take that, and I want you to think on it, and I want you to understand that even though the shows are not bad, there is a certain level of interest that is missing from Raw and SmackDown right now. The build to SummerSlam should not be inferior to the build to Money in the Bank. SummerSlam is your second biggest pay-per-view of the year. SummerSlam is your second biggest pay-per-view of the year, and it's very lukewarm in terms of the feeling. It's very lukewarm. They're trying to sell how many tickets? They're trying to sell at least 53,000 tickets, right? They barely got 51,000 tickets last year. If anything, I think there was some empty sections last year. Not that that really matters and all. Not that that really matters, but SummerSlam doesn't have that same feeling like it once did. It doesn't. And I'm not sure what it is, or at least I thought I didn't know what it was, but I started looking at things a little bit more closely, and it's clear as day that WWE television right now, it's very, very, very unexciting. Not necessarily bad, it's just very lackluster. And the reason being is because WWE has gotten way too complacent and, dare I say, way too organized. I can't even believe I just said that, if I'm going to be real. But WWE has gotten way too complacent and way too organized. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, complacent is pretty easy to define. Complacency. They're getting lazy. Why are they lazy? Because they virtually fleshed out the entire card. It's just about announcing the matches. And on top of that, WWE has gotten complacent with their roster. WWE's always been complacent with their roster. Minus the NXT Black and Gold era and 2016 SmackDown, because 2016 SmackDown was great. Minus 2016 SmackDown and the Black and Gold era, the WWE has always neglected the majority of their roster. You take a look at the roster, no one feels like an important star. No one feels like an important aspect to the channel. No young stars are being built up outside of two, Braun Breaker and Tiffany Stratton, and then everyone else that they're pushing in the spotlight is already a made star. Rhea Ripley, made star. Cody Rhodes, made star. Randy Orton, made star. Kevin Owens, made star. Sami Zayn, made star. Gunther, The Judgment Day, Becky Lynch, Bayley, made stars. They're already made. They don't need to do anything. They could all retire tomorrow. They'll go into the Hall of Fame. No questions asked. That's where the complacency comes in. Now, what do I mean by they're way too organized? You take a look at WWE TV right now, and holy fuck, like a blind man could see where they're going. A blind man could see where they're going 5 weeks ago. SummerSlam was virtually set in stone following Clash at the Castle. Punk, McIntyre, SummerSlam. Priest, Gunther, World Heavyweight title. Solo, Cody, undisputed WWE Championship. Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, World Championship. Nia Jax, Bayley, Women's Championship. All those matches were virtually set in stone following Clash at the Castle last month. WWE just hasn't confirmed all of them. But the whole ordeal with WWE is the fact that they don't take risks. WWE refuses to take risks. WWE refuses to do things that don't necessarily, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't necessarily come across people's minds, but they end up being good and they come off good on TV in the end. You take a look on Dynamite's part of the spectrum. Following Forbidden Door almost felt like a little bit of a reset. Following Forbidden Door, AEW Dynamite has been putting out banger show after banger show after banger show. These last 3 weeks of Dynamite have been the best 3 weeks of Dynamite since March. March was the last time that AEW had that great streak behind them. Now we head into Blood and Guts next week, and it looks like they're going to get on a 4-week streak with the shows. But you take a look at Dynamite, and look at all the unpredictable pieces of the puzzle that are falling into place. We all knew that Mariah May and Toni Storm was the match at All In, but people expected Toni to be the one to turn on Mariah, right? But Mariah ended up pulling the rug right out from underneath Toni Storm. She shocked everyone. Little to no one was predicting Mariah to be the one to turn, but yet it came off great, and it ended up coming off better than if Toni would have turned. Then we got Hangman and Bryan Danielson. They put on a banger of a match on Dynamite. More people had Hangman going after Swerve than Bryan, but Bryan ended up getting the win there, but Hangman is still going to get his hands on Swerve in Blood and Guts. Then you got MJF and Will Ospreay. MJF and Will Ospreay, we all expected MJF and Will Ospreay to end in a 60-minute time limit draw, but MJF ended up winning with 2 seconds to spare. Unpredictable, and it sets up a lot of good scenarios going forward. We could potentially see a fatal 4-way at All In with MJF, Will Ospreay, Daniel Garcia, and Pac. What about Darby Allin? Darby Allin just recently made a surprise return last week on Dynamite, and he's out for revenge against Jack Perry. He's going to fight Jack Perry for the TNT Championship. We all knew Jack Perry was going to win the TNT Championship, but now it all depends on what they do with him. They're giving him Darby. The shows for AEW, they've been much more exciting. They've been much more exciting. They've been more unpredictable. Do they still got problems? Yeah, they got problems. I really do hope that they fix Rampage and Collision next and they get a good sense of structure with those shows. I'm going to be keeping my eye on them. But with Dynamite these last 3 weeks, Tony Khan has been taking some risks, and the risks have been paying off. He's been taking risks with Chris Jericho and the Learning Tree, and now the Learning Tree is actually coming off tolerable on TV. Tony Khan and Chris Jericho ended up making the Learning Tree gimmick tolerable, and all it took was Chris Jericho putting Samoa Joe through a drywall. They're taking risks, and it's paying off. On WWE's side of the spectrum, even though the shows have not been bad, I know what a bad show is. The shows haven't been bad, but it's just way too organized. It's way too, I don't want to say predictable because predictable isn't bad, but it has been a little bit too predictable. Stevie Wonder could see where they're going. I don't know what the deal is, but WWE, they need to inject some life into their product. And yes, thanks guys. You get a fireball in your face if you don't listen to the Learning Tree. Hi guys. Hi guys. I have a love-hate relationship with the Learning Tree. I really do. I guess now he's going to be called the Evil Tree because he's unhinged whenever someone doesn't listen to him. I am the Evil Tree. If anything, I'm the fucking Learning Tree. You become a branch of my tree, and you'll learn a hell of a lot about professional wrestling. But everyone, you pretty much get what I'm saying right now. WWE TV is too organized. WWE at this stage of the game is very, very, very solid with their TV programming, but they become way too complacent. Like I've said, all they do is put effort into the main stars and neglect everyone else, but they become too organized in a sense that they don't take risks. They don't take risks. And on AEW's side of the fence, Tony Khan's been taking some risks. Instead of Hangman, he went with Bryan to fight Swerve. Instead of Toni Storm turning on Mariah May, Mariah turned on Tony. Instead of a 60-minute time limit draw for Ospreay and MJF, they had MJF go over. WWE needs to take some more risks. I understand long-term booking, but you need to inject a little bit of flavor and a little bit of life into the shows. Build up new stars and don't always book the most predictable things. I really do hope that it does indeed get a little bit better following SummerSlam, because following SummerSlam, we got Bash in Berlin. That's going to be a big show. And then we also got Bad Blood coming up, which is going to be another big show. So Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. How you doing, Hooligrim? How you doing, Hooligrim? Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley kicked off the show. She looked good. She said that she's going to handle Dom later, but Liv Morgan, she wants her out here now because she's been parading around with her Women's World Championship, and she pissed her off. So out comes Dominic. Dominic had a black rose, and the crowd was booing loudly. Rhea ended up turning her back on Dominic Mysterio. Liv came up on the Titantron, and she was acting all seductive and shit. She goes, I think by now you know I wanted to take everything from you, but I spent a little bit of time with Dom. I've had him all to myself, and it became real to me. Mommy may be home, but Liv is now on top. Dom tried to explain to Rhea Ripley. Rhea said when Liv gets in the ring, her revenge tour ends, and she's also going to end her title reign and her career. So Liv Morgan threw out the challenge to Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan accepted. So it's official. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship at SummerSlam. And here's another scenario that I'm going to talk about. Another instance of WWE being a bit too organized and a bit too predictable, even though predictable isn't necessarily bad. Again, Stevie Wonder could see where this is going. By the time we get to 2 to 3 days before SummerSlam, everyone is going to be saying the exact same thing that I'm saying. Dominic Mysterio is going to side with Liv Morgan. Why? Because Liv Morgan did something that Rhea Ripley could never do. Liv Morgan helped Dominic get a victory over his deadbeat dad. So it only makes sense. Dominic Mysterio sides with Liv Morgan. That is how Liv Morgan retains. Sheamus. He took on a big Bronson Reed, and Sheamus ended up getting the win. Decent little match right here. Could have been better. I really wish we would have gotten a longer match because, man, these two could put on a pay-per-view worthy match. But Sheamus gets the win. Pete Dunne came out to attack Bronson Reed. He then went back to attack Sheamus, and he blasted Sheamus in the back of the head. I don't really know where that's going, but we'll have to wait and see. Zelina Vega took on Sonya Deville. Another scenario of WWE putting effort into no one but their big stars. Zelina Vega and Sonya Deville could be out there giving us a decent women's division match. Instead, it ends within 60 seconds, and Deville gets the win. Yeah, but I'm supposed to care about the women's division in WWE, right? Jey Uso, Dominic Mysterio, and Damian Priest. I can't even believe I'm about to say this, but this segment right here was actually better than the women's match. So Jey Uso, Dominic Mysterio, and Damian Priest were in the back. And Damian Priest, he was smirking at Dominic Mysterio. Jey Uso comes in and he goes, is it true? Is Rhea Ripley single? I'm ready to holla. And then Dominic said, no more of your yeet, no more of your wepa. And Jey Uso, he looks right at Dom and he goes, and I quote, tell mommy I said hi. And then he does the yeet and walks away. This was fucking hilarious. This is probably the most entertaining that Jey Uso's ever been. I prefer this version of Jey Uso than the Jey Uso that's challenging for world championships. As long as he stays out of the world championship title picture, I'm fine with this version of Jey Uso. Better than the women's segment. Who would have fucking thought? Damian Priest, he came out to address the crowd. He said, All rise for El Campeón. I love you, Priest, but this is the real El Campeón. Just saying. So we got this face-to-face with Gunther. Gunther said, ladies and gentlemen, the World Heavyweight Champion. He goes, you've been carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Good for you. And I've been paying close attention, and I have to say, you're not living up to it. Your reign has been nothing, but it's okay because I come in good spirits. I want to lift that weight off your shoulders. So why don't you just hand me my title and we can move on, said Gunther. So Priest said, you said that this was never your dream. You see, I was fighting for my life on the streets. So if you don't think that this was your dream, if this isn't your dream, then you can go because we don't need you here. I earned this. You are the last person who's going to be taking this title from me, said Damian Priest. Gunther then said, being on the street is a choice. Man, you gotta love Gunther. You gotta love just the sly, prick-like comebacks of Gunther. He said, my qualities were recognized by my parents. WWE begged me to sign a contract, and you were on the streets fighting for your life. They wanted me to come to WWE to protect people like you from becoming the World Heavyweight Champion. I do not understand why these people don't love you to death. You are always like them, and you will always be street trash. So Priest goes, for someone who has so much quote-unquote clarity, you don't seem to see what's coming right at you. You don't have any heart. At SummerSlam, you're going to have to fight from the bottom up because you have nothing, and we'll see if you are more than a conceited, privileged scumbag. So, this was solid. I'll say that. It was a solid segment. The only downside to this is Priest didn't get enough time to speak. That was the only downside to this. The only issue is they had Gunther outshine Priest rather than it being 50-50. Like what we saw with Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland a couple weeks ago when they were building towards their match at Forbidden Door. We saw Swerve and Ospreay, they kind of had a very balanced promo. They had a very balanced promo with both of them getting a couple good zingers in there. But why did we have Gunther outshine Priest here? That's the only issue with this segment. We already know that Gunther's going to win, but why you got to make it so obvious? Doesn't really come off all that good. So then we get Damian Priest and Braun Strowman, and it was Damian Priest that ends up getting the win clean. He got the win clean. Priest needed that. Priest needed that win. I'm glad that he got that win. Afterwards, Gunther came out. Gunther and Priest, they got into a little bit of a brawl, and it ended up with Priest standing tall. Priest stood tall, and Damian Priest sent Gunther packing. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. It's pretty solid stuff right here. Again, I just wish that they would have made Damian Priest look a little bit better. However, we do have 2 more weeks until SummerSlam, so I do believe that we will get a couple more promos between these two, and I do believe Priest will have a chance to bounce back against Gunther. Caden Carter and Katana Chance. Do you have your new supply of t-shirts? Yes, I have a couple of mediums, and I have a couple of XLs, Mr. Rob King. Just tell me your size, and you can send me the money over Cash App, and I will get it to you very, very soon. But we got women's tag team action. This ended up being a decent match. I will say that. It was a decent match, but like I've said, who the fuck cares about the women's tag team title division? Who cares? They got so much shit in the women's division going on right now that no one gives a fuck about. Meanwhile, all you need to do is start building up undercard storylines in the singles women's division. You need to get rid of the women's tag team titles, and you need to start building up individual storylines for each woman, or at least if you can fit each woman on the show. We need individual storylines. We do not need a women's tag team division. It doesn't work. Adam Pearce and Drew McIntyre. This was easily the best thing on the show. This was the best thing on the show by far. Drew McIntyre, he was high-fiving people in the crowd. He was trying to be all professional. Adam Pearce and Drew McIntyre, they were in the ring. The crowd was chanting CM Punk. Pearce said, "We are on the verge of something special. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre can be special. Punk wants this match. How badly do you want this match?" Pearce then said, "We're going to leave the pettiness behind. We're here to leave the pettiness behind, leave the unprofessional behavior behind, and we are ready to do business." So Drew was calm. He said, "This is on me. The only opinion that matters is the WWE Universe," and the crowd erupted. Pearce said, "There is only one thing I need you to do. I need you to apologize to these two referees." So Drew McIntyre said, "Well, why would I do that?" So Drew was trying to fight it. Pearce then said, "They got hurt, and they do not deserve to be hurt. They deserve to be apologized to." Drew went up to them, looked them in the eye, and he said no. He then started going off. He started complaining. He started bitching left, right, and center. He said that Adam Pearce deserved that elbow, and he should be begging him for forgiveness. "I want Punk's head on a spike." So Pearce said, "Well, if you aren't going to do something, then I will. You are still suspended." Drew then pushed down the referees. He was going right after Pearce. Rollins came out. He went after Drew, and Rollins ended up standing tall here to end the segment. So now it is clear as day what the idea is. The idea here now, based on WrestleVote's report, is indeed going to be Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee, and that is not a bad thing at all. That's not a bad thing whatsoever. Matter of fact, that could make the match just a little bit more interesting. I'm down for it. Now, we do need an explanation from Rollins. We need an explanation as to why Rollins did what he did. To me, it's obvious, but we still need the explanation. They replayed the most recent Wyatt 6 VHS. Uncle Howdy was talking to Eric Rowan. He was talking about how things were. He used to have a family, but then the whole world changed because he lost a brother. But he still got back up and he kept moving because that's what you got to do. But then my other brother was gone too. So Rowan started crying. He said he fell down a well. He couldn't move. Who was going to miss me? I'm just Rowan. Uncle Howdy then asked how it made him feel. Rowan said it gives him hope because he was pulled up by another individual. He was talking about Bo Dallas. Now I have a purpose to help those like myself. And we'll take our broken hearts, he said. We'll take our broken hearts and we'll make some beautiful hope, said Rowan. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that this was better than all of Bo Dallas's Wyatt 6's VHS. This was better than all of Bo Dallas's VHS tapes. Plain and simple. Rowan was the best one. I hope he gets some more. However, again, I have to say, when are we going to see some actual wrestling, and why are they targeting Gable? Why are they targeting Gable? Dominic Mysterio. He took on Jey Uso. Really wasn't anything of substance. If you were to have skipped this match, I wouldn't have blamed you. We've seen this shit time and time and again. We've seen Jey Uso versus members of the Judgment Day God knows how many fucking times over. But in the end, it was Jey Uso that gets the win because Liv Morgan, she pulled Dominic Mysterio onto her, and Liv Morgan was virtually mounting Dominic Mysterio. Rhea Ripley came out, and Liv Morgan fled through the crowd. And that was it. Jey Uso gets the win with the spear and the Uso splash. Rhea then left with a little smirk to Jey. Now, I don't know what they're planning, but could we potentially see Jey Uso and Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio at a future Monday Night Raw or PLE after SummerSlam? It's possible. We don't know if it's confirmed, but may as well put it out there. Chad Gable, he said he was going to go out to the ring and he's going to call out Bo Dallas. He says, I'm calling you out, Bo. We're going to solve this little problem. Bo Dallas came out. He came out, no music. All of a sudden, the Creed brothers attacked. And the Creed brothers were suplexing Bo Dallas. They were tossing him into the post. And Bo Dallas, he was laughing. Bo Dallas just kept on laughing. Bo Dallas continued to laugh. Gable looked into Bo Dallas's eyes and asked, why is he laughing? The crowd was chanting, you fucked up, when the lights go out. And thank God it wasn't censored. So the music played. Gable and the Creeds, they left, and the Wyatt Six came out to the ring as Bo Dallas and the Wyatt Six, they did the signature Wyatt family pose as the segment went off the air. Now, the Creeds are great. The Creeds being a part of Chad Gable's new version of the Alpha Academy, that is fucking amazing. That is amazing. I don't think that there's going to be a single individual that's going to complain or bitch about that. But this segment was a bit too long. It dragged at times. It didn't really feel all that exciting. It just kind of feels like they're going around in circles. It honestly feels like they're going around in circles, and the only progression that we're really getting with this Wyatt Six Chad Gable feud is the VHS tapes. And I don't want to be an asshole, but it's lame. That is lame. We need wrestling. We need simple, solid explanations. And as good as the VHS tapes have been, as good as they've been, it's just not the same without Bray. It's just not the same without Bray. And I would have been completely fine if they didn't do this tribute faction. I really would. Next week, we got the Final Testament. They're taking on Xavier Woods, Otis, and Akira Tozawa. And then we also got Lyra Valkyria versus Sonya Deville. Main event was Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. This was good up until Braun Breaker came out and caused the DQ. And Braun Breaker just destroyed both Ilya and Sami with a couple of spears. Apparently, Meltzer is saying that a triple threat match is not confirmed for SummerSlam. That's kind of disappointing. I hope we do get a triple threat match at SummerSlam because a triple threat match would make the show better. Not a bad show. Not a bad show at all, but I don't know. It's just not that exciting. Not to say it's horrible. Not to say it's unwatchable. I know an unwatchable show. I lived through Friday Night SmackDown and fucking Monday Night Raw during the pandemic. I also lived through SmackDown in 2019. I lived through WWE in 2019. 2019 was a god-awful fucking year for the WWE. Holy fuck. Really fucking bad year. But this show is not unwatchable. It's not. It's just not exciting. And I don't know what the fuck happened because it seemed like WWE was getting themselves on the right track in the months of May and June. July, I don't know what's going on in July, but it seems as though AEW has gotten themselves on the right track. WWE is starting to slip in terms of quality. They may sell out arenas, but that don't mean their show's good. It's not necessarily a horrific show, but there's really no wow factor. There's no wow factor. And that is a problem that WWE definitely needs to fix. AEW Dynamite, episode 250. 250 episodes of Dynamite. You can believe shit has gone by that fast. I fucking remember when Dynamite first started. I fucking remember 2019 like it was yesterday. I remember 2019 like it was yesterday. I remember the first ever Dynamite. My God, it feels like a lifetime ago. So, we got ourselves a three-match show. We started off with Will Ospreay and MJF for the AEW International Championship. I took about 3.5 pages worth of notes. I took 3.5 pages worth of notes on this match. I can't even begin to tell you about this match from start to finish. I can't. Nothing that I say. I could go over move after move after move. It would not make a single fucking difference. This shit was absolutely fucking unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. This was by far one of, if not the best Dynamite match that we've seen. This was easily the best TV match of the year. And my God, it is easily, at this moment, top 5 of the year. I don't know where I'm going to place it. I don't know where the fuck I'm going to place it. It's pretty fucking hard. But in the end, it was worth every bit of stars that Dave Meltzer gave it. I think he gave it 5 3/4 stars. Unbelievable. Telling you, Will Ospreay's fucking breaking the 5-star scale every fucking day now. Every other week. This was an excellent, excellent way to kick off the show, and this may have been one of the fastest Dynamites that we have ever watched. It's like we blinked and already over an hour passed because of these two individuals. Absolutely fucking incredible. The only downside to it was the refereeing wasn't as good. That was the only issue. The refereeing wasn't as good. Bully Ray, I know Bully Ray has been very adamant about refereeing. That was the only downside to it. Bully Ray has actually gotten himself a nice little streak of fair takes. Bully Ray used to be a WWE cocksucker, but Bully Ray, he has really taken on the motto of doing things a lot more fairly now. So I got to give my props to Bully Ray. But outside of the faulty refereeing, I mean, holy shit. This was fucking unbelievable. Absolutely fucking unbelievable. This is up there. This is up there with Ospreay Omega. This is up there with Sting Darby versus the Young Bucks. This is up there with Cody Roman. This is up there with Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Gunther from last year's WrestleMania. This is up there with Cody and Styles from Backlash. This is up there with Bryan and Ospreay from Dynasty. This is up there. It is up there. I'm not even going to go over anything. All I'm going to tell you, go fucking watch it. Go watch this match. 59 minutes, 58 seconds. Easily MJF's best match that we've seen since the match with Adam Cole. I would say this was MJF's best match since the match with Adam Cole last year at All In. And Ospreay, I mean, it's a foregone conclusion. When Ospreay wrestles, you're going to get a fucking 5-star classic. Let's be honest. This ended with MJF winning the International Championship with the Dynamite Diamond Ring with 2 seconds to spare. We thought it was going to go the distance. It was going to be a draw. This ended up being a 59-minute and 58-second match with MJF winning the International Championship. Absolutely fucking spectacular. Spectacular shit. One of the best matches of the year so far. An unbelievable, and I mean unbelievable showcase. An unbelievable showcase for both of these two. You want a showcase of the future? There you go. There you go. Now, I don't know why they didn't do this at All In. However, I do have to say this. Tony Khan has got some balls to do this now. Tony Khan's got some balls to do this now and kind of throw everyone for a loop, because now there are various routes that they could take going into All In, and every single route would be a good route. And that right there is what I love about professional. That is one of the best things about pro wrestling. When you have multiple routes that you can go and all the routes will result in something good, that right there is what we need in pro wrestling. We need more of that in wrestling. So what are the routes that they could go? Well, the obvious route, we could get a rematch. The obvious route is a rematch. MJF Ospreay number 2 at Wembley. That's obvious. The second route that they could go, we could potentially see MJF either fight Pac or he fights Daniel Garcia, because you know Daniel Garcia is going to come back and Daniel Garcia is going to look for redemption on MJF. This is going to be a feud that is going to take Daniel Garcia to the next level. And it goes to show you how much investment that they have in Garcia, that they're putting him in a program with MJF. What happens with Ospreay? Maybe Ospreay gets Pac, or maybe Ospreay puts out a challenge and maybe Ricochet answers, or maybe Ricochet goes after Pac. I don't know. Those are two very, very possible scenarios right there. Or maybe Ricochet's not involved in this at all. And this is the route that I'm going to predict it's going to go. I think we're looking down the barrel of a fatal 4-way. Pac recently just won a number 1 contenders match. Will Ospreay just got fucked out of the championship because of the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And Daniel Garcia, he's out for blood against MJF. All these 3 individuals have got some sort of beef with MJF, whether they want revenge or whether they want the championship. Why not give them all a showcase? Fatal 4-way. And that's a great way for the international championship to be represented. You got MJF and Daniel Garcia from the U.S., and then you got Pac and Ospreay from England. It's a perfect way to represent the international championship on an international show. Simple. It's simple, it's effective, and it's very, very, very good. I'm going with the Fatal 4-way. Let me know what you guys think. What route are they going to go now that MJF is the international champion? I got the Fatal 4-way. Swerve Strickland, Mark Briscoe. Today's word of the day is miscombobulation. And the Acclaimed, they were all backstage, and the Acclaimed was welcomed into Blood and Guts. So at this moment, they got Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, Mark Briscoe, and Swerve Strickland on Team AEW. They needed one more member before the end of the night. TV time with Chris Jericho. I am the Learning Tree. Hi, guys. Thanks, guys. Your AEW debut tonight on Collision. It's fucking hologram. Hologram. Fucking smartass. Apparently it's a star from AAA. I'm interested to see what he does. But anyway, the Learning Tree. Learning Tree with the Bad Apple, Brian Keith, and the Redwood Big Bill. So Chris Jericho said, hi guys. Jericho, he ran down the crime rate in Little Rock, Arkansas. You have to do better than that, said Chris Jericho. Who the fuck would want to live in Little Rock? So Chris Jericho ran down the crime rate. He ran down the crime rate in Little Rock, Arkansas. He said, I've been on almost every Dynamite, and I'm not going to miss another episode of Dynamite until we hit 500. Thanks, guys. He said, you listen to the learning tree and good things happen. If you don't, people get hurt. All of you realize you need to listen to the learning tree. All of a sudden, Minoru Suzuki's music hits. Minoru Suzuki's music hits, and he walks down to the ring. He walks down to the ring, and he stares right at Jericho, and he says, next week. He says, next week, we get Minoru Suzuki delivering a headbutt to Jericho, and he looks out at the crowd, and he goes, bye, guys. So we got Minoru Suzuki and Chris Jericho next week for the FTW Championship on Blood and Guts. We're going to need to see unhinged Chris Jericho. If we do not see unhinged Chris Jericho next week, then we're going to have a problem. We need Jericho to be a sociopath. We need Jericho to bring out the weapons. If anything, you know what I would do? I would have Jericho's gimmick be putting people through walls. If people don't listen to him, I'm going to fucking put you through a wall. Make that a fucking thing. Make that a thing. That would be fun. Make that shit a thing. Hey, I'm going to put people through drywalls. Simple. Let's keep that going. The Elite. This was Matthew and Nicholas Jackson and Okada. They were backstage with Mercedes, and this was probably one of the best parts of the entire show right here, and it was barely even 25 seconds. So Okada whispers in Matthew's ear, can you tell her to do the CEO dance? So Mercedes, she was doing the CEO dance and shit. And then they pan to Okada, and Okada is all out of sorts. He's wiping sweat off his forehead. He's fucking fanning himself, and he goes, he's so hot. Fucking Okada. Okada is fucking hilarious. You know what I would love to know? I would love to know who is coming up with this shit from Okada. I would love to know who is coming up with Okada's material, whether it's him, whether it's one of the Young Bucks. I would love to know who is coming up with that material for Okada. Okada is fucking hilarious. He's fucking swooning over Mercedes. Okada, aren't you married? Aren't you expecting a child? Don't you have a child? I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Rainmaker. I don't know about that. Your wife would not be happy. So we got Mercedes Moné. She took on Nyla Rose for the TBS Championship. This wasn't bad. But if we are going to talk about what was a weak point of the show, I mean, it was probably this point of the show. Not to necessarily say it was bad, but this was a setup. This was a setup match for what happened afterwards. I bet it was Kenny. It was Kenny. I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny is coming up with Okada's material either. Wouldn't be shocked. But so we get this match. Mercedes ends up winning. Not a bad match, but all of a sudden she's ripping up signs. She's ripping up signs from fans because she's acting like a bitch. And we see someone in a Sting mask. The person in the Sting mask pushes down Mercedes, unmasks, and it's Britt Baker. So Britt Baker jumps over the barricade. She's automatically stopped by security. And Mercedes Moné is like, get her the fuck back. Get her back. Get her back. Get her back. So security had to separate them. Now, I hope that we get a little bit more. I want to get some more promos between these two. But I will say this. The dynamic between Mercedes and Britt is being built up very nicely. You see Britt as the come from behind underdog babyface that the crowd wants to root for. The crowd wants to cheer Britt. And then Mercedes, she's the privileged, entitled bitch. She's being favorited by the elite. Clear as day where the heat is coming from. She just seems a lot more in her element when she is a heel. So the dynamic is being built up very, very nicely. And I'm very, very happy about that. Very, very happy about that. I just got word from Tony Khan right now. He just tweeted out another match for Death Before Dishonor. It is going to be Layla Hirsch and Diamante in a Texas death match. Both women are 1-1. We're going to get a Texas death match between Diamante and Layla Hirsch at Death Before Dishonor. Going to be interesting to see how those women come on out and how they show how intense they are. I'm looking forward to that. Let's see how that match turns out. Getting back to Dynamite, we had Timeless Tony Storm's music hits. But it wasn't Timeless Tony Storm. It was Mariah May. And I don't know about you guys, but I find it very scary how similar Mariah May and Tony Storm look. I find it very scary. So Mariah May comes out dressed like Tony Storm. She goes, "Let's be honest, you all saw it coming." I actually didn't see it coming. I saw Tony Storm as the one to turn. She said, "You all saw it coming. Well, everyone except for Tony Storm. I see a woman that was so desperate for the spotlight that she didn't even realize she was giving it all away. You should be asking, not Mariah why, you should be asking Mariah, what took you so long? You see, it was so easy. I wanted to see how far it would go, and then I saw Wembley. Why take the old horse out back when I can kill it in front of as many people as possible?" She said, "Don't worry, Tony, I still love you." Crowd was chanting, "We want Tony, we want Tony." She said, "I've never loved you more than when you were on your hands and knees screaming my name. Matter of fact, Tony, that was your best performance," said Mariah May. She says that her greatest performance will be at All In. All Elite Wrestling is all about Mariah. Now, I'm glad that we got this explanation. I'm glad that we are getting a solid sense of character direction. I enjoy the melancholy tone, but I would like to have seen a little bit more. Similar to Priest and Gunther, I wanted more from Damian Priest. I wanted more from Mariah here. Now, we still got 6 weeks. We still got plenty of time to build up towards this match. And this match has easily been the best built match going into All In. But I will say this. We need more build. But I got to give my props to Mariah. I was very, very adamant on doing Mariah May and Tony Storm after All In, after Tony Storm lost the championship to Jamie Hayter. We're not getting that. Instead, Mariah May has risen to the occasion, and Mariah May has become one of the best acts, not just in AEW, but all professional wrestling. I got to give my props to Mariah. I didn't think that she was ready for that spot. She proved me wrong. She absolutely proved me wrong. So you know what? I think we're going to have to give it to her. We're going to have to fucking give it to her. Put that strap on Mariah. Put that strap on Mariah and just let her fucking wreak havoc. And that right there, that is going to be, that will easily be, I'm going to throw this out there right now. This, if Mariah wins, which I hope she will, Mariah wins, that will be one of the best homegrown, built-up stars that AEW has ever had since when the Acclaimed became the tag team champions. And I was there in attendance when the Acclaimed became the tag team champions, so I know how special that must have felt. I know how special that must have felt, and I do believe for sure, without a shadow of a fucking doubt, Mariah May, she's going to be the next big homegrown star. Looking forward to it. Tonight on Collision, we got a nice stacked lineup for Collision tonight. We got ourselves the Bang Bang Gang taking on the Patriarchy for the Trios Championships. We also have Roderick Strong versus Tomohiro Ishii. We got Darby Allin versus the Beast Mortos. Plenty of good material going down tonight on Collision, and I am going to be seated for that show without a shadow of a doubt. Then in the main event, we got ourselves Swerve Strickland versus Kazuchika Okada. Swerve Strickland and Kazuchika Okada it wasn't for anything, actually. It was a champion versus champion match. So we got this champion versus champion match. It ended up being good. It was good, but they needed to go the typical WWE route, and they needed to end it via DQ. Obviously, the DQ put a damper on it. This is not the last time we're going to see Swerve and Okada. These two will be facing off again in the future. Believe me on that. They will be facing off again. But it was good for what it was, but ultimately it ended in a DQ. They needed to end it in a DQ because we were going to get this big brawl. So we ended up getting this big brawl where all the members of Blood and Guts started to come out, and Darby Allin descended from the rafters a la Sting. Darby descended from the rafters a la Sting, and Darby Allin went after Jack Perry, and it looks like Darby is the fifth man. Darby's going to do some crazy shit. I hope to fucking Christ he doesn't die, because we need Darby Allin at All In. We need Darby at All In, and we need Jack Perry versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. It is a necessity. So the match ends in a DQ, but the brawl was great. And we ended up getting Team AEW being flushed out for Dynamite on Wednesday. And AEW Blood and Guts, it's looking good. I'm very much looking forward to it. And I do hope that they outsell what they sold the last time for Blood and Guts. I think they were in Nashville. And I think they sold about 4,700 tickets last time. I hope they sell more. They can definitely sell more. That was Dynamite. Great show, that's for sure. Great show. So, after this, we go to SmackDown. SmackDown, we got ourselves Cody Rhodes kicking off the show. And SmackDown, kind of in the same position as Raw. If you were here when I was talking about Raw, you know exactly what I have been talking about. It is clear as day that WWE TV, it's not as good as it should be. It's not as good as it should be. It's not as exciting as it should be. They're operating a little bit too safely. They're operating a little bit too safely. They're operating a little bit too organized, a little bit too complacent. They pretty much have what they have. They know where they want to go, but they're not really doing anything to build on it. They're not trying to make it more exciting than it really is. And that's not right. That's not right at all. So, we got Cody kicking off the show. And he talked about Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa and how he cost Cody Rhodes the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 39. He says Randy Orton is his brother, and he says, when you take out a brother, then you're going to have a problem with me. He says, I told you, Solo, that you weren't ready. So I must imagine how it feels for me to be standing here with the same title that you cost me last year, and you're still standing here, and you are still not ready. That was a good line before A-Town Down Under interrupted. Don't know why we needed A-Town Down Under to interrupt Cody, but this ended up booking a tag team match for the main event later. It's like Teddy Long was booking the fucking show. So, very typical segment. Typical segment to set up a tag team match. Why did we need this? I don't fucking know. Who was going to be Cody's partner? I mean, who but Kevin Owens? Who but Kevin Owens? Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes. He took on Andrade. This was a very good match right here. These two matched up very well together. And this is exactly the type of material that WWE TV needs. I said it once, I'll say it again. When it comes to WWE TV, put professional wrestling first. And that's exactly what we got here. Very good match right here between these two. Andrade ends up winning with the message. Andrade wins the match. Andrade beats Carmelo Hayes. I don't know where they're going to go with Andrade afterwards, but I'd like to hope we can get Andrade into the United States Championship title hunt. We can get Andrade into the United States Championship title hunt because Andrade, he is great at what he does, and him and LA Knight would put on one hell of a fucking match. Nia Jax and Bayley, they had a sit-down interview. This was not bad at all. We had Nia promising to put Bayley down like an old sick dog. Bayley said that Nia hasn't changed. She has the same big mouth. She said that you took me out of my SummerSlam match back in 2017. You didn't hurt me because you're big and strong. You hurt me because you're clumsy and reckless. So that obviously didn't sit well with Nia Jax. Nia then said, I'm content with being Queen of the Ring, but I'm coming for that title because I want to be the one to take it off of you. So she just wants to be a bitch and rob Bayley of her title, pretty much. Bayley said that she'll be walking out as champion and Nia won't be able to do anything about it. Simple enough. Simple enough. We could have gotten a little bit more. I don't know where they're going after this, but I genuinely hope that we get a little bit more material between Nia and Bayley because so far the last 2 weeks haven't been necessarily terrible, but we need to build it up a little bit more. Bianca Belair and Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green's theme song is I'm a Hot Mess. You want to talk about a hot mess? Look at the WWE Women's Division. 60-second matches. That's a fucking hot mess. And of course, there's going to be fucking retards that come on here and say, well, it was better than the AEW Women's Division. Hoi, 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 hoi. Shut up, you fucking Nimrods. Swear to God. Watch what happens, okay? Watch what happens with Toni Storm and Mariah May at All In, and then tell me that the WWE Women's Division is doing better than the AEW Women's Division. You fucking cockburgers. Division is a hot mess. Bianca wins with a roll-up in 60 seconds. Nick Aldis, or as Chelsea Green calls him, Nicholas the Prickles. Start using that shit. So Nicholas the Prickles, he moderated the contract signing between LA Knight and Logan Paul. Both men were here. Surprisingly, Logan Paul was here. Logan Paul then asked, why would I even give LA Knight the match? So LA Knight said, you know what, maybe you're right. But here's the thing. I have owned you and I've cooked you Let's take you back a year ago. I presented you with a map and a destination to where you can stick all those bottles of Prime. And then I asked you for a shot and you told me no. I go to your house, I use your pool as my own personal toilet, and then I pinned your shoulders to the mat. So Paul ended up calling LA Knight by his real name, Sean. He said, "You need this match. I don't. See, we are not the same. Your existence is defined by what you do in this ring. Meanwhile, I'm interviewing former presidents. I am changing the landscape of entertainment. You're good. Matter of fact, you're very good. But you want my accolades, and you're not me. You have not had a defining moment in 20 years. You are nothing more than a gym bro with a fake tan pretending to be The Rock." So LA Knight goes, "Oh yeah, like I've never heard that one before. Let me tell you something, Paul, you are nothing more than a fraud. Your brother actually has the balls to fight Mike Tyson, but you don't have the balls to fight me." So Paul obviously was entertaining the idea, and he goes, "Oh, you want me to sign this? You know what? I'll sign it. But guess what? I'm going to draw you a map to show you where you can stick your dreams of becoming WWE champion." Yeah. So afterwards, Logan Paul faked like he was going to leave. Logan Paul ran right back. Logan Paul slid into the ring, and Logan Paul started going to town on LA Knight. We got a big brawl with LA Knight standing tall. There is no excuses. We need to get LA Knight that United States title. We need to get him the title. There is no excuse. We need to put that championship on LA Knight. No fucking questions asked. If that title is not on LA Knight, by the time SummerSlam is over, we're going to have a problem. LA Knight has been losing every single big match. He has been losing every single big match that he has been in since November. That needs to change. That needs to change, and that needs to change at SummerSlam. Tiffany Stratton. She took on Michin, and this shit was fucking stupid. This shit was fucking stupid. We had Tiffany Stratton in control of Michin, and then all of a sudden, Bayley comes out, and Bayley is attacking Nia. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with that at all. But then Bayley, like a fucking idiot, she attacks the briefcase, and she's throwing the briefcase all around ringside, and Tiffany Stratton, like a fucking bimbo, is looking at Bayley when there's a match going on as Bayley is destroying the briefcase, and Michin rolls up Tiffany Stratton for the win. This is typical WWE 101. Make the Money in the Bank briefcase winner look weak. Absolutely fucking unbelievable. So fucking stupid. So fucking stupid. So, next week, it's Bayley and Michin versus Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. We got LA Knight and Santos Escobar, and then we got a number one contenders match, and the winners will take on DIY for the tag team championships. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, they took on A-Town Down Under. Cody and Kevin ended up getting the win as expected. Afterwards, the Bloodline came out, and they attack Cody and Owens. They crush Owens' head within a chair against the post. And then we saw Kevin Owens down and out. Cody Rhodes got triple powerbombed through the announce table. The beatdown was awesome. But again, similar to what's going on with Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio on Raw, it's becoming way too consistent. And it's becoming very, 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 very repetitive. Not a horrific show, like I said, but clearly there is something wrong with WWE TV right now, and there is not enough true, genuine excitement within the WWE product right now, and that is a problem. That is a problem. AEW Rampage. AEW Rampage. I'll tell you what else is a problem. Rampage, again, has 5 matches on it. Don't know why. I said this once, I'll say it again. We need to decrease the amount of matches on Rampage and Collision. We don't need 6 matches, 7 matches within a 2-hour period. We don't need 5 matches within a 1-hour period. Unless you're going to bring back the rankings so that way the matches actually mean something, what the fuck are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing? We got Kyle O'Reilly, Tomohiro Ishii, and Orange Cassidy. They took on the Undisputed Kingdom. This was easily the best match on the show. Best match on the show by far. This was very good. Probably one of the best matches on Rampage in a while. We ended up seeing the conglomeration get the win. Kyle Fletcher attacked Cassidy, and then out comes Mark Briscoe. Before Mark Briscoe, he got taken out by Roderick Strong. He got taken out by Roderick Strong, and Roderick Strong held the Ring of Honor World Championship above his head. He held the World Championship above his head, and that is going to be the match next week at Death Before Dishonor. Chris Jericho and Big Bill, they took on the Outrunners. Big Bill ended up getting the win. He did all the work himself, and Chris Jericho just went into the ring and pinned him. Minoru Suzuki, he defeated the Butcher. Suzuki actually got the Butcher up for a Gotch-style pile driver, which looked very nice. Chris Statlander defeated Sidney Winnell. Chris Statlander wins easily. And then in the main event, it was the Lucha Brothers. Lucha Brothers defeated Private Party. And if there's one thing that the main event proved, it's that we need to get the tag team division back on track because we got ourselves a great tag team division and we got these 2 individuals fighting for supremacy, and they're not going to get anything because the Young Bucks are not defending the tag team titles. That's a problem. That's a big-time problem. Lucha Brothers win in the main event. Decent match for what it was, and that was pretty much that. That was Rampage. Again, 5 matches. Don't need that shit. The more matches you add to Rampage, the more shit that you put on Rampage, the more discombobulated and the more disorganized it's going to be. 3 matches is all we need on Rampage. 3. That's all I got for you. We're clocking in at 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen. That is all that I got for you. That has been the Lightning Flash update. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this very stream. You guys are fantastic. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. Do not forget to hit the super chats, the super stickers, the super thanks. Get your DJ Storms merchandise as per usual. Trump 2024, bitches. And I do have a big announcement coming next week. Prepare yourself, people. Prepare yourself. I have a major announcement. This is undoubtedly in the 7 years, which, by the way, I celebrated 7 years of being DJ Storms this week. 7 years. Thank you, everyone, for the last 7 years of support, and here's to 7 more. But next week, I always say that I'm a history maker. But now I am going to completely fucking change the game. When I say I am going to change the game, this is going to be the biggest piece of information. This is the biggest thing that I've ever been involved in with the DJ Storms brand. You are going to want to get ready, prepare yourself. And give me 1 second. Give me 1 second because I do have one last thing I want to talk about. Here we go. One last thing I want to talk about right here. I want to welcome a new sponsorship to the show. We have a new sponsor called Ven AI. That is VENAI. So if anyone out there is forgetful, know someone that's forgetful, anyone, whether it be a family member, whether it be a friend, for anyone who's forgetful, here is a cool way to help. Ven is a new AI companion app and memory aid that remembers important details about your life. Ven can remember names, dates, medical info, account numbers, and a lot of other stuff too. It can also read documents, it can play trivia, or it could just chat with you like an old friend. And it's so simple to use that anyone can operate it. Are you ready for the best part? Ready for the best part here? Ven's running a special deal, 40% off for our listeners, just $2.99 a month. For more information, visit myvenai.com. That is myvenai.com, and use the code DJ Storms. One more time, that is myvenai.com, myvenai.com, code DJ Storms. Thank you very much to Ven AI for sponsoring this show. If you are forgetful and you want to remember important things, important dates, and important information, go check out Ven AI. Use code DJ Storms. And be prepared for next week, the biggest announcement of the DJ Storms brand ever. And it is going to absolutely change the game. It's going to set trends. And above all else, it's going to do what I've always been doing. I am going to fucking disrupt the system. Until next time, I am DJ Storms, and this has been the Lightning Flash Update. But before we get out of here, very important question that all must answer. Very important question that all must answer. And the question is, of course, who runs the IWC? We already know who's going to be running America in 2024 this November. But I'll tell you who runs the IWC. And it's quite a simple answer. It is who but DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you ever forget it.
Retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution!